Today I'm making a crowd-sized carrot cake. It's for a birthday party. And the first thing I did was I'm using the large pans. These are a 12-inch pan. And whenever I do that, I always line them with wax paper so when I take the cake out, they come out very nicely. What I did, I greased the pans, and then I just set these on the wax paper and kind of drew around it so I would have a good circle. I cut the circle out and I put it in the pan. And as you can see, then I put I greased the wax paper on top, and then I floured the whole pan. So I have those ready, and I've already measured out all my ingredients. Carrot cake seems like quite a few ingredients, so I like to get them all measured out ahead of time. The last thing I have to do, I'm grating the carrots to go in the carrot cake, and I like them nice and fresh, so I grate them right before I start making it. Okay, I've got the carrots all finished here now, so I'm going to start mixing everything up. I'm going to put the sugar in here. Now I've already measured this out, so we know exactly what it is. And I'm going to add the cooking oil in with it. And I'm going to blend this a little bit. And then I'll start adding the eggs here. Around the sides a little bit. Actually, once you measure everything out and you have all the ingredients ready, it's not bad putting it together. It just seems like when you're measuring it takes more ingredients than a lot of cakes. Okay, I'm going to blend that a little bit more. And then I'm going to start adding the flour. I've sifted the flour. Some baking powder, cinnamon, baking soda, and a little salt. And then I'm going to add the carrots in with it. Sides and the bottom here. Make sure it's well blended. I'm going to add the crushed pineapple. Again, I want to make sure the sides and the bottoms all mixed together. Now I'm going to put in some chopped nuts. And you want to make sure those are blended in thoroughly also. Now I'm going to kind of scoot the stuff out of the way here so I can get my pans over here. Okay, I've got the batter poured in the pans, pretty evenly divided, and I'm going to put them in the oven, and when they come out, I will show you how they look when they come out of the oven. I took the carrot cakes out of the oven about 10 minutes ago, so I'm going to remove them from the pans while they're still warm. Take the wax paper off of the bottom. And then I'm going to flip this one over on the platter that I will be decorating it on. Get the other one out here. I'm going to let these get nice and cold, and then we will slice the layers and put a filling between them before we frost them. Okay, I'm making the filling for the carrot cake, and it's going to be orange. And so I'm using orange juice, and I'm going to add some sugar to it, and I'm heating this up until the sugar dissolves. And then I'll put some thickening in it. While that's heating up, I'm going to add a little, I have cornstarch in here. This will be the thickening. And I'm stirring in a little bit of water so that it'll blend easily when I put it in the hot orange juice. Just enough to let it pour in there and blend easier. So I'm just going to let that sit here while I'm heating the orange juice up. I want the sugar to dissolve good before I put the thickening in it. And I'm going to go ahead and dump a little bit of orange rind in it. This gives it a good orange flavor. So as soon as this gets hot, and the sugar's dissolved, I'll add the thickening into it. And then the only other thing we add is a little butter. Okay, this is getting hot. You want to stir the cornstarch again. Make sure it's well blended before you put it in. You can see how it's runny. So I'm just going to gradually stir it in. And you want to cook this until it's thick. Okay, now the sauce has thickened up, and you can see it's still runny, but you can tell how it thickened up from the cornstarch. Now I'm going to stir in just a little bit of butter for flavoring. And we'll let this set until it's cold before we put it in the cake. So while it's getting cold, I'm going to mix up some frosting for the cake. Before I mix up the frosting, I wanted to slice the cakes in half, and this is where the orange sauce will go, or the orange filling. I've got this one done. So what I'm doing, I'm using a Wilton's cake cutter. But if you don't have one, you can use a serrated knife, which I do quite often. And you just want to slice it in half. The nice thing about the cake cutter is that you can make it more even. You just want to kind of saw it in half. There we are. I'm going to lay this over here out of the way. I also have, this is Wilton's also, which comes in handy, especially for the large cakes so that they don't crumble. You can just lift it over to another platter. And I'm just going to let that sit there while I mix up the frosting. Okay, I'm mixing cream cheese frosting. This is a carrot cake, and my friend wants cream cheese frosting on it. So I'm adding the cream cheese. I'm going to put in a little butter. Butter will give it a little flavor. And then I'm going to blend this together. Going to start adding powdered sugar gradually to it and let it blend in. Okay, I have my frosting finished here. So I'm just going to remove the beater out of here. And I want to brush off these crumbs so they don't get, we'll just brush them off the side here a little bit. Now what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put some of the frosting in a bag to make a ridge or dam around the thing so that I can put the filling in. I just have a round hole in the thing, and I'm just going to go around the edges like this with the frosting. That way the filling will stay inside on the cake and won't run down the sides. Now I'm going to come over here with the other bottom of the layer, and I'm going to go around it also. Okay, now I'm going to reach over here to get my orange sauce. And this is not a real thick filling. that's why you want to be careful it doesn't run down the sides. But it will sink into this cake, and it adds a lot of flavor to this carrot cake. You don't want to pour it in real thick, but just coat the layer with it. And the same way with this one. Now I'm going to set the cake so it's easier to frost up on a turntable. And I can brush the crumbs off again, and that way they'll go down on the countertop. Okay, and I'm going to lift this one carefully back up on top of this cake where I took it off. You want to make sure it's on there evenly. Okay. And now I'm going to put some frosting on top of this layer. I like just a fairly thin layer of this because cream cheese frosting is so rich. I like between the two layers, I try to get it fairly thin. Now I'm going to put the other layer together. I'll lift this half like I did the other one up on top of the cake. Okay, and then I'm going to lift this layer on the frosted cake. Sure it's on there even. And again, I'm going to brush the crumbs off. Okay, I've got the cake all covered now with the frosting, and I'm going to decorate. You can decorate it however you like.